Hey, it's Eve. Welcome back to Class with Prof. Eve. This is part two of my I'm back video. Part one was interrupted by my kids knocking on the door to get in to get something. But I'm back, and so I'm going to complete the video that I started. So if you didn't watch the first part of the video, make sure to do that. That should be posted now, and it should be labeled as part one. And this will be part two. So let's see, where was I? Momentum is what I was talking about. Oh, you can see a little bit of my plant, my cactus plant in the video. Isn't that cute? I have two plants, and they're both different types of cacti. And they're not like sharp or pokey, they're pretty soft. I have two kinds of cactus plants like this. The other one looks very different from this one, but it's a cactus plant too. And I've had them for years. They last, they've held up for a very long time. All right, so momentum. Pushing through even when you're uncertain, even when life is chaotic, even when you're feeling down, even when you feel like crap, even when things aren't going your way, etc. Pushing through. Because doing something, making some sort of effort creates momentum. And even if you think about this with like physics, right, or gravity, like once things are in motion, then they just kind of move along, right? That domino falls over and those other dominoes fall over as a result. And so one thing that I've realized, which is kind of magical, is, okay, when I do one thing, like I work on something related to my business, all of a sudden I'll get like a message related to my business, or someone will reach out to me, or, some thing will start moving because I did something. I write down an idea on paper for a content piece that I want to talk about. And then all of a sudden I come across, something that provides more information on that content piece. And then I see a video of someone that is talking about work that they do related to that idea. That's momentum. That's forward movement. It keeps things in motion. Keeping things in motion is going to get you out of whatever rut that you're in, because life is fluid. It's always moving. It's always going. It's never standing still. So when you pause and you shut down, everything around you is still moving, right? And so when you jump back on that wave, then you start riding along, as well. So just keeping up some sort of momentum, usually keeps things moving along in one way or another. Even if it's not an ideal situation, it's going to work its way out at some point. No situation lasts forever. So I say all that to just kind of further illustrate my point of, I often, feel overwhelmed or have a lot on my plate, but I've really, developed all of these different ways of managing that, nowadays, that's so much more healthy and productive and humanistic, as well. So I found a way to take some time out when I need to, but not necessarily letting all of my work and activities completely lapse and fall away, And I think a part of that is also having some systems in place or some sort of structures in place. And maybe that's a video, that I can cover later on about setting up different types of systems for things to, kind of operate without you having to tend to them every single day. Whether that's automating or batch, content creation, or planning and scheduling for family events and activities, as well, whatever that might be. I think all of those things, are viable. So I needed to take some time away from YouTube to tend to other parts of my life. But if you follow me on social media, on any of my other social media pages, then you'd see that I've been active this entire time that I've been away from YouTube. I have been posting every other day on LinkedIn. I post about once a week on Instagram and Facebook. I post pretty much every day on Threads. So I'm out here. I'm busy. I'm doing things. But I've just been thinking a lot about a rhythm that feels good to me and that is not going to overwhelm me and burn me out. So posting every single day is just not something I need to do or want to do. Threads would probably be the place where there'll be every day, posts, because those are just kind of short, simple posts. But every other platform, I won't be posting every single day. I'll be there, probably at least once or twice a week. But that's about it. And I think that's enough for me for the kind of content that I provide online, which is typically educational content, applied information, things like that. Then I just don't feel the need to post like every single day, multiple times a day across various platforms. And even here on YouTube, I found that posting once a week or twice a week is better for viewership than every other day. I get many more views when I post less frequently, once or twice a week. So until I see something different, then I'm going to keep things going, and that works well for me. I like looking at my calendar and seeing white space. I like seeing that there are days that I have absolutely nothing scheduled. That's very rare, but since it's something that I'm intentional about now, there are more weeks that have open days in my calendar. And it's something that I actually want to strive for. Every week I want to have at least one day that doesn't have anything scheduled. Because as I look back through my Google Calendar, on my phone, it's just, there have been months where, it's just completely covered my whole calendar. What is it, Sunday through Saturday? It's just completely covered in activities. And having children, it's difficult. The meetings and things like that become really difficult and challenging. And I've had times in my life where I've been in meetings every day. I've been in long meetings multiple times a day. When I was coordinating, a coordinator, for a organization, or when I was a cadre member, in an organization, and leading different groups and committees and things like that. The schedule was crazy with the meetings. And I saw the impact that had on my interaction with my kids. We were at home, and I just didn't like that. There has to be some time where I'm at home and we're talking, we're hanging out, we're watching a movie without a meeting or without a phone call, needing to be on the phone or on the computer for something. That is important to me as a parent. So I just can't be in meetings all the time when my kids are here. So I do schedule things around days that they aren't, here. I'm divorced, and so my kids are with me half of the week and with their dad half of the week, and then they're with me every other weekend. And so there are days that my kids aren't with me. And so, of course, I try to maximize that time doing cleaning, errands, batch cooking and prepping, and, of course, work as well. So I end up filling those open days pretty quickly. So I just have to be careful. And right now I've looked at my calendar for this month, and there's 2 days that I have open to schedule something. And once those are filled, one or both of those are filled, I'm not putting anything else in my calendar for July, because I just don't want a calendar that has something every single day. It's just too much, and it's unnecessary. There's been a lot of discussion about meetings and the length of meetings, and, folks who are advocating for like the 30-minute meeting and how effective that is. And, I agree with a lot of points that people have made about, having shorter meetings and having less meetings, as well, and really kind of trying to focus on key pieces and not just kind of busy work and fluff, which is what tends to fill so many meetings. So those are some of the things that I'm doing to just keep my life balanced. And at this current moment, as I speak with you, there are so many things up in the air. I don't know where I'm going to be living in a month. My oldest child is studying abroad for 9 months and is leaving at the end of this month for that adventure. So that is huge. That's something that's going to completely reorganize our family and just the way that we think about day-to-day life when that happens. So that's a big upcoming event. We got to start preparing for the semester, for the fall 2026 semester at Parkland. My 6 classes, 3 online and 3 on campus. Got to start planning out the curriculums and thinking about some new things that I added last semester, some changes that I made that were very useful for improving discussions in class, improving attendance and interaction in class. I need to make sure that I have those things noted. So starting to think about the upcoming semester. I'm editing one of my textbooks. I'm editing my full textbook for Introduction to Sociology. It's called A Sociological Worldview, The Essentials of Sociology. You can find it online right now. But that first edition is going to be phased out because I'm working on the second edition that will hopefully go into print spring of 2027. It was actually supposed to go into print in fall, but with everything that I've had going on these last few months, I just haven't been able to finish the edits for that book. And they're much more significant than the edits for my other Introduction to Sociology text, which is the Reader, the anthology, A Sociology Reader, Foundational Concepts for the Introductory Student is my other book, my first textbook. That one has been revised, and the revised first edition is now available. So that's done. So now it's just this full text that I have to work on. So of course the full text is much more work. With the anthology, there were chapters written by other people, and I, just wrote the intro summaries and kind of the pieces to tie the book together. So there wasn't as much original content that I had to contribute for that one. But with the Essentials book, it's all my writing, all 12 chapters. So I am going back through there, and there's at least 5 or 6 chapters that I want to expand on. So it's just more work that needs to go into that book. So it's not going to be ready to go into print in the fall, but hopefully by the spring we'll have that going, and that'll be really good. I've been wanting to revise this book for a while, probably ever since the last edition came out, and I was like noticing errors and things like that. You always notice, something, no matter how many edits and reviews that you do of the book. So I love this book. I can't wait to get back into the edits because it's been a few years since I've edited this book. So a lot's changed, in the world. I'm writing about, current events and social, political, economic changes. I mean, things change so quickly nowadays. There used to be a time where I would only need to update my PowerPoint slides as far as like data points every year, or something like that, or every couple of years. Now every semester I have to update my slides because things are changing so much more quickly. So just keeping up on what's been going on these last couple of years since my last edition. So there's some really exciting new pieces that I want to add, some different things that I want to add that have been informed by my entrepreneurship, that have been informed by my coaching and advising, that I've done with one-to-one clients. I just have a lot of experiences that will help me to kind of talk about some sociological concepts differently now. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm really excited to edit that book. And I think that this edit is going to be the big one. Like, I think the second edition of this book is going to be really, really strong. And I'm very hopeful that it'll be adopted by other colleges. And on that note, as I move toward the conclusion of this video, I'm on my exercise ball, which is why I'm kind of moving from side to side like this. But my textbooks, there are 3 active requests to review my textbooks. I actually don't know which ones. I think it's the anthology right now, since I'm working on the revisions for the other book. This one is The Reader. There are 3 requests for The Reader from 2 universities in California, or I think it's like 2 campuses of California State University, and then a community college in New York also requested a copy of the book to review, to consider for adoption for their classes. So this is huge. I've been with my academic publisher for 7 years, and I look at this dashboard not regularly, but at least a few times a year. And there's never been any, I mean, there's been like some inquiries, I'll say inquiries here and there over the years, but there's never been any like active requests to review the books until now. So this is a huge milestone for my writing career, for my textbooks, because as a professor, I know that when you request to review a book for a class, there's a strong chance that that book's going to be adopted. Like, I get review requests all the time, and I'm sure other professors, you do too. Like, we get these emails all the time to review and consider adopting various textbooks for our classes, for our discipline. So the ones that I've actually requested, or the ones that I've gotten and I've actually reviewed, it's like a 9 out of 10 chance that I've gone with those books. Like, I usually adopt the books that I've taken the time to request and review, because obviously I've read some sort of description, or there's been something that drew my interest enough to even request it in the first place. So it's a very, very strong indication that they've requested these books, that at least one of, if not all 3, will adopt them. And that is powerful, you all. I'm using the books at my current college, which is amazing. I am so grateful that my colleagues have trusted me enough, and they think that this book is quality enough to use for all of our introduction to sociology classes. I am so honored by that, and I always want my books to be used at Parkland College. However, I am an author. I want my book to be used by as many students as possible. So of course I want it to be used outside of my own college. And I don't even know, how long will I be at my college? What if I retire early, or whatever may happen? I'm, building a business right now. Who knows what may happen? If I'm not at that college anymore, what happens to my textbooks? You know what I'm saying? Will they continue to use my books? I hope so. I think they should be used whether I'm there or not. They're good books whether I'm there or not. But I don't know if my books will continue to be used when I'm no longer at my college. So I have to make sure that, there's other options. Obviously, anyone who writes something for public distribution wants as many people to adopt it as possible that could use that thing. So I've been, marketing to high schools in my town. I hadn't heard back from anyone there. I delivered books. I've made several posts about my books and, all these sorts of things. And I know that the publisher has been working on my behalf and contacting schools. And I think that's how we landed here, I think the publisher has done a really good job of reaching out to colleges and universities, sociology departments, to make this happen. So I think it's definitely a dual effort on both of our behalf, and I really appreciate that. So I am very confident that my books will start to be adopted, in the months and years to come. And when that happens, that just opens up a new world of possibilities. To have my books used in other classes across the country that would be incredible, for my work, and also for the business, the broader business that I'm building as well. So that's what's going on with that. I think that this is pretty good. I think that this has been a pretty good update on what has been going on in my life over this last month or so that I haven't been on YouTube. So let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to consider any video topic ideas that you all have. Let me know. I have lots of things to talk about. So there will be a new video upcoming in the days to come, and not too long. Look out for it. On this channel, we discuss everyday life through the lens of sociology. So we often discuss some of the hidden and unspoken dimensions of social life, especially as it pertains to work and organizations, and as it relates to relationships and culture. So if you're interested in that kind of content, or if you're interested in working with me one-to-one, on building a business, on refining your authority, positioning yourself in a way to accomplish your goals and to move past blocks and barriers, you can reach out to me to work with me, or schedule a free call and chat with me, about something that's on your mind. I am a sociologist, and I think that that's a very unique perspective to have in today's world. And every conversation that I have, I always convey something that is unique, something that is not what everyone else says, So I always offer a free option to just hop on a call and talk to me, about something, get some insight or a perspective on something. I'm always open to that kind of thing. But I appreciate your viewership. Thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. This is Class with Prof. Eve. Peace.